I start the recording quickly. Okay, just if people want to drop out, we are recording that so that we can upload that to the internet then on our YouTube channel. Today we're looking at setting up a call center. We have nearly 25 slides with video sections in between, so it's probably going longer than 30 minutes. I try to keep it short, but yeah, we have to go through quite some stuff. And as always, also with the 3CX trainings, I try to do that showing you guys on actually how some stuff is done. Some stuff I didn't add it that you can also add into a call center. Because I have the idea to do a separate lunch and learn session or training for that stuff at some point. It's also coming down that I have not set up anything in that regard. And this is why it's not included, but it is a part or can be a part of a call center as well. We quickly look at the agenda and then we rush through the first set of slides. So we look at what is a call center, we look at the benefits of a call center, we look at the call distribution options in 3CX, the call routing options. We quickly look on how to not build a call center, and then we mainly focus on how to build a call center. What is a call center? Generally, every one of you knows what a call center is. Call center, IVR or digital receptionist creates a voice menu. It prompts caller for input. It has predefined destinations based on offered options. It has the ability to connect to an extension directly, if available, so direct dialing, and additionally can be used in combination with calls routed based on the source caller ID. Benefits of a call center is a better customer experience in regards of call routing, computer telephony integration, callback, direct dial. It is multi and omni-channel possible, like phone, mail, chat. You can have improved productivity with it, CRM integration, chat, mail, improved quality in regards of recording of the call queues and all that stuff like quality management, post-contact surveys, and call recording. Better reporting option, number of calls, mails, chats, average, longest wait times, lost calls, and all these things. I assume you know all of that, and we also don't have in today's training the idea of look at the benefits of a call center, it's building one. We look at call distribution points 1, the caller options. They enter the destination they want based on offered options. So you enter on the phone the digits 0 to 9 based on the menu you hear. They have in some IVRs the option to direct enter the number of the destination if the number is known and if it is offered. They can also dial usernames if that is offered. So for example, you start entering the name of the person you want to reach by entering the name on the keypad, and then the IVR will offer you the names of the people you are looking for. We don't look into that because I think that is something we would have to look deeper into on a separate lesson. Call distribution, the second part, we have the destination options. That can be extensions, queues, ring groups, further IVRs, like if we do multi-language IVRs or what else ever. This can be voicemails or call by name. This is what I just mentioned before when you have someone starting to type in the name of the person he wants to go to, and then he gets offered the people who start with that name, so with the first 3 letters of the name. Mainly in an IVR or in a call center, we would use queues. On 3CX, we have queues available in the Pro and in the Enterprise license. In the Pro, we have 9 polling strategies offered. In the Enterprise, we have 4 additional ones offered, which is the skill-based routing ones. Generally, we have the prioritized hunt, we have the ring all, hunt random start, the round robin, the longest waiting, the least talk time, fewest answered, hound by 3s random, hound by 3s prioritized. And then we have, for the Enterprise license, we have the skill-based routing, ring all, hunt random start, round robin, and fewest answered. Call routing options in general, we can route the people based on the dialed number. So what the caller enters into his phone when he dials the company, based on that number, it can reach an IVR. We can do that based on source caller ID. For example, if we have a company that is nationwide and we want to direct the people based on the location code, the area code where they are coming from, we can route the people based on the option chosen in the IVR or multiple IVRs, language or area directed. We can ask if they know the number of the extension, and then the person dials the number of the extension directly, so he more or less bypasses the queue. We can have the call queue, the professional, and the enterprise license, and then we can have the call queue on a skill-based routing. And then we have destination options based on no input or wrong DTMF input. So also there you can then define what happens if someone is not giving any input for a certain time, or if someone enters a wrong DTMF input, what happens then? So how to not build an IVR call center is simply how we can see that quickly here. I have opened the system, so system audio, so you should hear that.
Buds upset, listen to this.
If your car is a pacer, press 61. If your car is a Studebaker, press 62.
Honey, he said that he is never dating again, and he wants to live in the basement forever.
Sounds like a good plan. Wished I thought of it.
If your car is a Hudson Hornet, press 67.
So it will simply say, don't give too many options to the customer. If he has to go through all those numbers, no, he will hang up before. So keep it short and simple as possible.
Buds upset, listen to this.
That shouldn't happen. So how to build a call center? Step 1. You firstly check the needs with the customer based on the services he offers, the departments he has, his customers' profiles. So who calls in? Are there multi-language people who need to have like different languages offered? Is there something that he wants to have people guided to directly when they call from, for example, from mobile numbers, from Northern Territory, from Western Australia, New South Wales, whatever. And then it comes down to how quick have the people or the calls has to be answered. Is there something like SLA requirements in the behind and all these things? Yeah. So that's what you have to get from the customer. What is his wish? What does he want? What does he need? And based on that, then you actually look on what you can offer. Then literally that's what you can offer them. We can have call routing based on caller ID. You can have the IVR options based on offered services on different languages, destination options, and then you can have more or less like also the direct call opportunity. As said before, in a further step, we would have like also choose the call or the extension name, so dial by name. If you know the agent, the name of the agent, then you can offer that. There could be the opportunity that you actually have the website included, so the chat comes into a queue. You can have the opportunity to actually also receive SMS from people who just send an SMS from the website, for example, if that is offered, or you can also have the Facebook page included so that someone contacts you via Facebook, and this then comes also into the call center. As said, these are topics that I would like to look in a separate either training session or lunch and learn session, because it would make just everything too complex. Yeah, so we would have to look at these things a little bit different. So what we are going to do now is we're building a basic call center. We have one IVR, we have 3 queues, accounts, sales, and support, and we have one operator extension, which is literally there for the destination if no input is done. Yeah, so if there's the timeout is reached, we will go to the operator. The operator will be a ring group which contains 2 receptionist phones. So that's literally what we are going to build. So first of all, we are recording the intro prompts that we need. So we're recording the intro prompt now. We first make sure that the correct settings are in Audacity. When we start it up, we check that the microphone is the one that we want to use. We choose one channel mono, and we also choose the project rate of only 8,000 Hertz. And then we start recording our prompt. Welcome to Tech and Co-Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or if you know your party's extension, please enter it now. We then mark the recorded track to be able to cut off the start, the empty start and the end. Then we go to File, Export, Export selected audio. We choose the name, and then we choose 16-bit PCM. We save it. And we are done. So that's the first step. What we have to do, the recording the prompt. So we have done that now for that basic IVR. And so we will go to look at the next step that we have to do, which is create literally the destinations. You see here all the extensions, but I have not entered any destination for the IVR yet. So I add a ring group for the operator because I use the 2 reception phones there. We use ring all strategy, and we leave it on a ring time for 30 seconds. We add the 2 reception phones here. And destination, if no answer, we will change that in a second because we have not stored yet the ring group. This means this extension, the operator ring group, is not on the system yet. Therefore, I have to save that first and then go back in to have that actually receiving the voicemail as a group. Then I go to the call queue. I enter a sales call queue. Change the extension number. Ring all, the ring time, so the repolling time I leave by 30 seconds, but I change the overall queue wait time to 600 seconds, that's 10 minutes. Also, voicemail, I have to save the queue first before I can choose the queue itself as a voicemail group. Then I choose a prompt that I prepared. So music on hold, not the prompt. I will not add an intro prompt. If that is necessary, we can do so. Then I define the queue position, the announcement for the caller to 40 seconds. I will add 2 queue members. It doesn't matter in that very specific with ring all who is at the top of the list or not. I offer callback after 600 seconds, which is in the end the same amount of the queue thing. So you could say, for example, after 200 seconds, then you have the opportunity to enter an outbound prefix if he has to have special rights to go out or to decide the trunk. We defined a wrap-up time of 60 seconds and a maximum amount of 2 callers in the queue. We make a queue recording, and then we schedule the queue statistics, the reset of the queue statistics this time to 3 in the morning. You can have all the queues reset at the same time or at different times. Here we could enter a queue manager, which does not have to be a member of the queue. And this person then receives all chosen notifications like SLA breach time and all that stuff. Here we create a tech queue. Again, with ring all at the same time. We leave the ring time, so the repolling time is 30 seconds. We change the maximum queue wait time is 600 seconds. Then it goes to voicemail, which we change then afterwards here. Then we upload a new music on hold for that queue. We don't use an intro prompt here as well, but we again choose the announcement for the position of the caller after 40 seconds. We add 2 members for the queue. We enable callback. This time we leave it triggered on user request. Wrap-up time is 60 seconds. Maximum callers in the queue here we do 3. We again choose queue recording, and then we schedule the reset of the statistics. This one then for 4 in the morning. As said, they can all be at the same time. Now I quickly import the 3rd music on hold, which I have not taken over yet. In that regard, I have to store that on a local folder because I use the 3CX on a virtual machine which has no access to the OneDrive. So I enter there now quickly. That is you see the destination no answer, so the voicemail of the groups of the sale group and of the tech group, which I have not changed so far. Now I quickly add the last call queue, which is in the end the accounts call queue. Again, here I change the extension number. I just do that to have the like ring group, IVR, and so that they all have a little bit of different range to keep some kind of a structure inside there. We have here 240 minutes wait time, and then again here we change that then afterwards.
Of course, I meant 240 seconds.
The voicemail of the group. We don't play any intro prompts. We do a position announcement for the caller. I quickly add 2 accounts here. We enable callback again, triggered by the user. It would make sense to have that then in the music on hold for the queue so that the user actually knows, the caller, which digit he has to press to be able to establish a callback. Here we set the queue reset time at 5 in the morning. So now we go back in and we change destination no answer, which is actually, you have to choose, you can't connect it to another queue here. So you have to go here and then you can, but the one that I wanted was not in there because you can't loop it in the same queue. So that's literally it.
So we have now created those destinations. You might quickly ask yourself, what's the difference or what's the benefit of queues and what's ring groups? Ring group is just literally very basic. The call announcement is done only once. If you're busy when the call comes in, it won't ring once you're finished with the active call. So for example, you have 3 people in a ring group, call comes in, one person is on the phone when the call comes in, the other ones are actually occupied with something else. The call rings on their phones, you hang up your phone, the call is not presenting to your phone anymore. Of course, you can pick up the call that comes into one of the other handsets, but some people don't know how to do that or what else ever. It's just generally the call is not ringing on that phone then anymore. So it's this, you don't have that retargeting time. You don't have music on hold in the ring groups and all these things, what you literally have in a queue. And in a ring group, as long as the call comes in and is not answered, the ring group is busy. So there is no second call coming in. If the call is waiting to be picked up in a ring group and a second call comes in, he goes straight to destination, no answer. So you don't have that benefit like you have in a queue where you can more or less serve multiple calls at the same time. In a queue, you have repolling, also busy extensions will start ringing when they finish their calls. The agents can log in, log out. You have multiple calls at once. You have position announcement towards the caller. You have call recording. You can have SLA options. So for example, if it's a if you have techs who are part of multiple queues and one of those queues is undergoing SLA requirements, this queue is automatically having a higher priority. So the call comes in at the top. So it bypasses all the other waiting calls and comes in at the top because it has to be served first.
We have callback option in the queue. We have messaging, and we have reporting, what you all don't have more or less in a ring group. So this is why you usually use queues in a call center. Now we are building our basic IVR. We have a look on how that goes.
So we're coming now to create the IVR after we have now all the destination extensions. We go to digital receptionist, we choose add, and then we enter IVR, enter the name for it. Again, we change the destination extension number, and we choose for this one, we choose the standard. We upload the prompt that we created. We keep the digital receptionist's language as Australian. Then we choose the destinations. This would be for key press event 1, it would be the accounts. For 2, it would be sales. For 3, it would be tech. We don't add anything else to the other keys. Then we choose the no input timeout. I make there 20 seconds. 60 seconds is pretty long. It's very, very long. We go to a ring group, which is the operator ring group that we created. And then if the input is invalid, we repeat the prompt. Now, we can directly assign a DIT on 3.6 to everything like ring groups, queues, IVR, extensions, and this directly creates an inbound rule to that destination. And the IVR is now done, finished.
Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or, if you know your party's extension, please enter it now. Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or, if you know your party's extension, please enter it now. Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or, if you know your party's extension, please enter it now. So you will see now how long 20 seconds are. And then imagine it's 60 seconds. And you see it goes now to the operator ring group as the timeout destination. And And the last one is now entering a wrong input.
We are the number one advertising platform for your IT service in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or, if you know your party's extension, please enter it now. Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the number one advertising platform for your IT service in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support. Or, if you know your party's extension, please enter it now.
So what happens now is one extension is occupied, the call still comes in, and as soon as I hang up the phone, you see that extension runs as well. But you don't have that with ring groups. And that was this one. So that's the basic IVR, more or less. You call in, you have the voice menu, you choose based on the options that are offered, or if you enter the wrong input, you either get the prompt repeated, or you go to voicemail or whatever. And if there is a timeout, there is also different options where the call actually can go to, can also go to a voicemail. Sometimes you know that when you call into an IVR, all of a sudden the call literally hangs up. Yeah, this is when it's wrongly configured. So who didn't have that before, that he is like 30 minutes in a call queue waiting that someone picks up, and all of a sudden the call drops. And it's just like 30 minutes wasted of your life. Yeah. So that's literally when the IVR is not properly configured in a way that you literally don't offer someone either a callback, or that you just don't really lead the call to a destination in the end. Even if he is not want to have a callback, that he literally comes to a voicemail or what else ever. Yeah, it's just hanging up is not really from our perspective, is not really an option to offer to a customer. So now that we have the basic IVR, we build advanced IVR. We more or less do that based on the basic IVR. So more or less with these three options like accounts, sales, and tech. We do that with caller ID based routing and with a language option. What does that mean? So we live here in Australia. We have a lot of different nationalities living here, different cultures. So which means they have a completely different language, model language, all these things. And we offer them the option to get a little bit more of an ease to get through that menu by actually being able to have the menu options offered in their language. Caller ID based routing means the following. We literally route the calls based on where they are coming from to a different IVR. So calls from different areas go to dedicated IVRs based on the source caller ID. For example, calls from 08 go to a more detailed IVR than calls from 07, because in 08 you have Northern Territory, Western Australia, and South Australia. So you more or less make there an IVR which offers them the option to choose where they come from. And then we go into another IVR that offers them then based on the area which they've chosen, the option to get to sales, accounts, or tech support in the, let's say, Northern Territory in that area. So it goes then to people who are located in that area. If it is a company, for example, who has to offer tech support on site or sales support on site, all that stuff, it doesn't, in some ways not make much sense if everything is sitting somewhere in one spot. Comes down to the company structure, but we just assume we have such a company who is not only centralized, who is decentralized also with their staff members, that we can offer to the customers that service. Then calls from 04 and from anonymous go to a state selection IVR, where they literally have to then choose the from which state they are calling, because based on 04 or with anonymous, you can't define where they are actually sitting at the moment. So we are going to set up all the destinations based on languages and departments. We are creating all the IVRs, and then we create the routes. So we create now quickly further queues.
We will have to create now queues for every language the customer wants, for every department in the certain language. Yeah, so this means we have to do a couple of different queues now for sales in Chinese and support in Chinese and whatever language is there around. And we have to create that all now more or less in the similar way like we did that in the basic IVR. Of course, always coming down to if they have separate music on hold, if they have to play an intro prompt, if the intro prompt has to be played fully, the queue caller position announcement. And of course, we have to think about when we do stuff like queue caller announcement, we have to choose the respective language that we need there. Then we have to choose the agents. On the system that I use now here, I only have those same extensions created like I have also for the other queues. So I will choose them just to show how it works. We do then again the same like callback, queue preference, wrap up time, amount of callers, queue recording, yes or no, and then the queue statistics reset. We do that all in the way like the customer wants it, but again, based on how you actually do it. Now, in this case, we choose a queue manager who receives the notifications, and the queue manager doesn't have to be actually a member of the queue. So here we go again to change the destination no answer, done.
So, of course, we will have to do much more queues. The call center structure in that regard would look like that we have calls from the 08 area are literally coming into the IVR 08. Then they get the language selection offered based on what languages are around. So, for example, press 1 for English, drücken Sie 2 für Deutsch, presse le 2 pour français, and all that stuff. I can't speak Chinese, I've taken Chinese here. So you do then the language selection, and then you have to offer an IVR. So literally the IVRs then have to be all offered in the respective language. To be available for what the people are choosing. So if you have like 9 different languages, you have to have then 9 different IVRs for the language IVRs just for 08. Yeah. So then if we have 03, we more or less have to do the same again. Then in the option here, we then choose the Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia. This then again has to be also replicated in the specific language. And then underneath there, you then would define the literally the option where the customer can go to. Yeah. So therefore, you also try to keep the announcement, the prompt, as short as possible, so that you do not always repeat that we are the number one we are the number one company in the country and all that stuff, because you can imagine how long the caller is there on the phone. Yeah. So you try to keep that short if you have such multi-nested IVRs. I mean, that comes all down if the customer is having such a company structure that he actually has to offer his customers who call in such options. You can also say, look, I make it simple. I just first say, choose your language. Then inside the language, you say, choose the location you are coming from. And then inside there, you literally give him the option then to say, I want to go to sales, or I want to go to tech, or where else ever. This one is just that the customer just calls in and gets routed based on where he comes from. So he does not have to really choose his state, except the ones that are literally not fully definable. Yeah. You could also say in the other end that there is for every state a different number to be called. So if you're in Northern Territory, you call this phone number. If you're in South Australia, you call this number. In Victoria, you call this number. But this then again would require that the customer actually has to search specifically for that number. Yeah. So you want to offer a solution where the customer directly gets to the area more or less where he is living in. So that's the idea on that. So also for calls from 03, we see here Victoria and Tasmania. So 02 is the same more or less with 07. We leave that there. With 02, we also include the ACT. So they more or less have a straight direction. You see that here there is no definition underneath if you come from there or from there, because 02 is literally only New South Wales and ACT. And 07 is the same. Then calls from mobile or anonymous. We have the language selection, and then within the offered language, we have to have then the option to ask where you come from. Are you coming from Victoria? Are you coming from Queensland? Wherever. Because based on 04 and anonymous, you can't say where the customer comes from. So you have to create then more or less for such a call center, you have to create all those different IVRs. And of course, you have to have then all the different queues underneath as well. Yeah. So it does not make a sense if you create all those IVRs and then the person is inside the Northern Territory and chooses support in the Northern Territory, and in the end, he all of a sudden ends up with a call queue that is sitting in New South Wales. I mean, that might make sense if the border area of the two states, but generally it does not. So you have to create all that stuff underneath. So it's quite some preparation work. So we're not going to build that whole stuff because, first of all, I don't have so many phones here to present. And second, if I would do that whole stuff, it would go for maybe another hour. So we look at the just with two different languages and how that is literally built then.
So we see now here we have created a lot of IVRs. We don't need them all for that short example, but we need that English one, that German one. We need the IVR Tasmania, the Victoria. We need the 03, which is the main one. For example, I can't speak Chinese, so therefore I can't add a Chinese IVR, what else ever. We look at the call queues. We have, for example, a sales tech and accounts German. We have the same in English. Of course, we would have much more for that stuff when we have all those different destination, like Northern Territory and all that stuff. We use everywhere the same extensions because I didn't create now all those employees and all that stuff, but generally the normal way we would have a lot more extensions for people who answer the calls. We can see the extensions are now more or less up, registered, so the live display would work then. What we have to do now is we have to create the caller ID rule. So to lead the call based on the caller's number. So for that, we create two rules for the 03 area. One that starts with 03, and we finish that with a wildcard with a star. And then we have to choose which trunk the calls come over. It can also be that you choose all the trunks, but then you have to create a rule for each trunk. Then we lead that to the right IVR, and we save that then. So we see now it is not at the top. We have to push it over because we call that 20 number. And when that did rule is at top, it will follow that rule. So we have to push that up. Now we make the same again, but for numbers that show the international pre-dial number, so the 61. We choose again the trunk, and then we choose the correct IVR where the call has to go to. And then we again have to move that into the correct place. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if it's if one of these is underneath where, so in what area or position, because they look for different caller IDs. So now we have that follow up. So the call comes into the IVR 3, then we offer different languages. Then, for example, we go into the English language here now. We offer where the person comes from, Victoria or for Tasmania, because if we have to send someone out to these people, doesn't make sense if you are far away. Then in German, we do the same. And then in the end, we come to the aerial IVR where we then finally offer them the queues, so the accounts or what else ever. Try to keep the prompts very short. And here we have the live example now. So we're dialing in. We do first the German test and then the English test.
Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. For English, press 1. Für Deutsch wählen Sie die 2. Pour Français, pressez le 2. Für Kunden in Victoria drücken Sie die 1. Für Kunden aus Tasmanien drücken Sie die 2. Für Buchhaltung wählen Sie bitte die 1, für Verkauf die 2 und für technische Unterstützung die 3.
I've chosen their tech support in German
So you
in
see,
Victoria.
I have chosen then their technical support. Call comes into the call queue technical support in German in Victoria.
Welcome to Tech and Core Product Placement. We are the #1 advertising platform for your IT services in the country. To make it easier for you to find your correct destination, please choose from the following options. For English, press 1. Für Deutsch wählen Sie die 2.
I've chosen English this time.
For Victoria, please press 1. If you're located in Tasmania, press 2. Press 1 for accounts and billing, 2 for sales, and 3 for support.
And also here I've chosen then in the end Tasmania and accounts.
So hope you heard all those, yeah, a little bit silent loudspeakers from the phone when I was calling into. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to have the camera and everything in the right angle. So that was actually a more complex call center. As add-ons, I mentioned before, 3CX additionally offers dial by name, SMS implementation, chat from a website, and also Facebook. As said, these are ideas that I have in the back of my mind to do them separately, based on more or less like this call center setup, just in a additional lesson training, because it's literally, it would go overboard if you include that all. Yeah, so you can literally spend a day just doing that stuff, and that's not what we have. We are already by 50 minutes. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed that session. Hope it was in the direction of what you were expecting. You probably can't be in line with everyone always. Yeah, just if there are any questions, just let me know.